folks, today's guests are two of the greatest point guards in basketball history. As an All-American at Oregon State and a 9-time NBA All-Star, mostly with the SuperSonics, he was known as the Glove for his defense. She would beg to differ. I'm loving this because Lady Magic was so dominant in leading Old Dominion to 2 women's championships that the Naismith Hall of Fame now has an annual award for the best NCAA woman point guard that was named in her honor. And these 2 Hall of Famers have finally come together as rival coaches in the Big 3 League. I welcome the Glove, Gary Payton and Nancy Lieberman. First of all, let me just say, just getting a chance to sit down and talk with the 2 of you, you seem like you've been together for years. What accounts for this simpatico, this closeness that you 2 have?
He's a great father, he's a great man, and more importantly, he's my friend.
To say that he's a great man, a great father and all, that's awesome. What about her to you?
Well, Nancy is a person where I idolize too. We don't care about what we are, who we are, what color we are, or nothing. Me and Nancy, we always hug each other, we kiss each other, we do the same thing. It was very fun to be with her for 2.5 weeks at the Big 3 and see her every day, and she's got a lot of joy to herself. She tries to bring a lot of things back to basketball and attention to a lot of things that people don't want to bring attention to. And that's the type of person she is.
Gary mentioned the Big 3. Talk about what the Big 3 is and how you 2 have been spending more time together as a result of the Big 3.
Well, Gary's been a part of the Big 3 since its inception, and I just feel tremendously blessed to have been asked by our commissioner, Clyde Drexler, and Ice Cube to include me. You know, I'm a lifer in this game. I love basketball. I've been doing this, since I was, 9 years old. So when they said, we would love for you to be, a coach in the league.
They reached out to you.
I am sitting happily in Dallas with a clicker, my 2 puppies, I had Uggs on, and I'm watching the NCAA tournament and Straight Outta Compton. I'm going back and forth. And the phone rings, and I'm like, hello? And it was Clyde. And he is informing me that they would like me to coach. And I'm like, you're not going to believe this. I'm watching Straight Outta Compton right now, and tell Cube that O'Shea, he's a good-looking man. And I think that sealed the deal for me.
And how did they approach you, Gary?
Well, me and Ice Cube has been close for a long time. You know, when Seattle was playing the Lakers and he was always at the games, it was always the stars were at all the games. One time he just came by and he said, what do you think about a league that former basketball players that has been forgotten but who can still play, and these guys, we don't want to forget them. What you think about this league? And he ran it by me, and I said, Q, we did that on the streets, man, in the playgrounds. And he was like, I know, and this will make it fun if they come in shape and people see the old players that they wanted to play, they wanted to see, and they're now retired. Let's bring them back. Let's do it. Let's get a league for them. And then the one thing he said that impressed me, let's have our players own their league. Their own league. Meaning where the players can control whatever they want to do. They can, like on our teams, we got a captain, and the captain is the one who controls that team. I just coach. They make the trades, they make the deals, they do everything. They put the people on our IR, inactive list, they do everything. They run their league.
How much fun are you guys having?
First of all, the Big 3 is not your grandfather's old timers day at Yankee Stadium, all right? These guys are not 70, 80 years old.
Right.
They are in their mid-30s. They might not be able to get up 94 feet, but look at Amari, look at Mahmoud, look at Big Baby Davis, Birdman, Nate Robinson, Drew Gooden, Carlos Booz. These guys are unbelievable.
Is this truly duplicative or replicating what happens on the playground and the kind of good quality play, the intensity that's out there as well too?
Very much. It just gives you good quality, but it's organized. That's all it is. You remember how you used to go out there and say, I got next or whatever, and then you can sub with anybody, whoever you want to play. It's just good quality basketball. They're in shape. They're playing hard. They're talking smack. They're doing a lot of things that they want to do.
I'm
the best. I'm the best.
No.
As a coach,
He got the award for the best smack talker in the league.
Well, she got the award for the coach of the year, man. So it's like
I wasn't even on your list. I wasn't even on the smack talk list. I was insulted.
That's okay. That's okay. I'll take that one. You take the best one. That's it.
this is an indication that what is happening in the Big Three is real indeed. Hey, folks, back with more. Gary Payton and Nancy Lieberman after this. Nancy Lieberman learned to play basketball, check this out, folks, on a 9-foot basket in a poor neighborhood in Queens, New York, and by taking the train at night to compete against the best in Rutgers Park. And guess where that is? That's in Harlem. Gary learned to play on a hoop nailed to a tree and then in playgrounds and gyms of a tough section of Oakland. In his 2013 Hall of Fame speech, he said that after he began playing basketball at the age of 7, it became a beautiful struggle. Let me start first. What do you mean by a beautiful struggle?
My mom and my father separated. It was one of them things where the girls went with the mom and the boys went with the father. And my father was a chef, so he didn't ever come home, you know, but I had a beautiful way of doing it because my father would come home, give me what I needed to get, teach me how to cook, be there by myself, and then I could have the luxury of playing basketball and he'd be my coach. We called him Mr. Mean.
Mr. Mean?
Mr. Mean. He never smiled. He was mean at everybody. But what the good thing was is all my friends I grew up with in the neighborhood only had one parent, and that was the mother. She had to work. So they didn't have a father figure. And he became their father. He got them off the streets. Anybody of them got in trouble, he would go to their school, would get them in front of the teacher and make them straighten up, and they understood that. When my father passed in 2015, it was the biggest hurt and biggest struggle I ever had in my life, ever. And he had almost over 2,000 people come to the funeral, which gave him a lot of respect. And a lot of the guys came back and the people that they thought were going to be either in jail or dead was survived because of my father. So that was a beautiful growing up for me, to become a man by myself, be by myself, and let my father trust in me not to go out on the streets and do something else and get out of the streets of Oakland.
Your father cared. Wow. Yeah. Help me understand. The train at night, going to play hoops at Rutgers. Can you elaborate on that?
I wish I had Mr. Mean in my life because I think it would have been just an awesome experience. I didn't have my dad, and there was so much strife going on in my house. And I just knew that I needed to get out. And I heard that the greatest players played in Rutgers Park. So I literally went in my mom's closet and took her purses and dumped out change and took enough money for the train and said I was going to be playing at the park. So she thought it was PS 104 across the street. And I walked into Rutgers, and these guys were looking at me, and they're like, "Little girl, are you lost?" I was 12. I was 12.
Are you lost?
I was like flaming red hair,
Right.
little skinny girl.
Hey, Gary, she's not going in there to teach them Hebrew either, you know, so, but go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai. No. And I look at them, and the guy, "Are you lost?" I said, "No, are you?" These guys were just falling out because they're like, "She's not afraid of anything." And I wasn't.
Gary Payton, the only point guard to be voted NBA Defensive Player of the Year, and who was, and I say this with all due respect, the most famous, as Nancy has already said, trash talker ever in the league. Nancy was there trash talking in women's college basketball and in the WNBA. I don't know, did they trash talk in the WNBA too?
My team had the first fight in WNBA history, and I had the first fight as a player. So I want to leave that alone because that's not what I'm proud of. But I was a little,
Nancy,
I was
who
a
ticked
little,
you off?
I was a little Jamila Weidman. I was a little chippy. Yeah,
Hey,
I
she got
had
the
my
name out quick.
hand
You
on
got
her
it out.
neck.
Got it out quick. Go ahead.
I had my hand on her neck, and Shaquille O'Neal jumped out of his seat, and Lisa, I was like this, and Lisa's yelling, "No, no!" And they separated us.
I'm listening during the commercial break. You guys are talking so reverentially about Ice Cube, who you've known for a long period of time. Just share with me, has he always been this forward-thinking?
JB, as you know, that when he was with NWA, that was a group where it was strong. That was during the time where they were trying to get over the hump, saying things that, in rap records and stuff like that, and Eazy-E was the leader and stuff. And then all of a sudden, think about who was the first one who left NWA. It was Ice Cube. And what did he do? He went and started his own label. He started everything. Then he gets into movies, and you start seeing Fridays, the Boys in the Hood movie. So then he brings in a lot of children movies and stuff like that. He's brilliant. He's just a brilliant guy, because what he does is he changes the culture, and that's what he does. So then he comes back and makes a league. Makes a league that in 2 years has come up to the top.
Hold tight. Now, while we talk about Cube, Muhammad Ali and you, how did that come about?
I fell in love with Muhammad Ali when I was 10. I was walking into my kitchen and the TV was on, and there he was, and he was like, I beat Joe Frazier like I beat George Foreman, like I beat Sonny Liston back in 1964. I'm too pretty not to be the champion of the world. I am the greatest of all times. This man didn't even know he was affecting a 10-year-old, Jewish redheaded female, but he gave me hope when I was helpless. And then, I make the Olympic team in high school, and I'm still the only youngest Olympic player, male or female, when we won the silver medal in '76. I get a scholarship to go to college at Old Dominion by the grace of God. And so we win our first national championship, and I get asked in 1979, my senior year, they're having a fundraiser for the Olympic Committee, and it's at the Stock Exchange in New York. So I'm coming home. My mom, my best friend Barbara, we're going up the escalator, and I said to the guy, so who's the other athlete? And he goes, we're going up to the green room. It's Muhammad Ali. And I'm like, he's here? He's here? Muhammad Ali is here in the building? He goes, yeah. And we go, the door opened, and I was like, I was hyperventilating. I couldn't breathe. And I'm like, hi, Mr. Muhammad, how are you? And he goes, so your mom says you're good. And I'm like, no, I'm not really good. I'm the greatest of all times. And he goes, there's two of us? I'm here because of Muhammad Ali's influence. He told me to respect everybody and fear nobody.
I promise, we're going to get some basketball stories from them in a moment, but we've got a lot of other stuff that I think has been pretty doggone interesting. Back with more after this. Gary, so Nancy's already said you won the Best Trash Talker Award in the V3. When you played the game, you talked to everybody, including MJ, otherwise known as Michael Jordan. Why?
I went at everybody because that was my game. That what motivated me to get my game to another level. Even MJ, I look forward to playing him. He was on the pedestal of the #1 player. And everybody always seemed like they were scared of him. So my father always taught me when I was young, look here, don't back down to nobody. If they talk crazy to you, you talk crazy back to them, and you prove your game to them. So I always look forward to playing MJ because he always talked trash and people don't really understand it. He always would say it a little bit and underneath his breath a little bit until you get him really mad. And then he'll start talking. But I always had to get it out of him. And then what I did was, people didn't go back at Michael Jordan. I had to go back at him to show him that I can score too. We consider him the greatest basketball player to ever play the game, and which is true. And I wanted to always be a part of that. And I played in the era that I played against him a lot. And I really respected that because he made me even better.
Did I hear that John Stockton was one of the toughest guys you played against as well?
He's the toughest basketball player that I played against.
How so?
He's the toughest. Well, MJ, you would like to he would go to that one spot, and you can fight MJ to the spot. With John Stockton, he had the ball 94 feet. If you gave him the ball, he had to dribble the ball down. Then he gets in the pick and roll with Karl Malone. Then he'll throw a pass. Then all of a sudden he'll make a pick. He'll do everything. He'll get rebounds. So with a guy like that, if he shoots the ball 11 times and makes 9, that's 18 points. If he shoots 10 free throws and makes 9, that's 27 points. Then all of a sudden he has 16 assists, 4 steals, and he's made an impact. And what the whole kick was this, he only played 36 minutes of the game. And I couldn't figure him out for almost 6 years. I figured him out in 1996 when we beat him and played Michael Jordan in the thing. I said, let me stop talking to him, because when I talk trash to him, all he would do is act like I wasn't even there. He'll just walk by me. And it would frustrate me. And then I would try to bag him in. He'll fall and get a charge. And I'll get in foul trouble. And then I said, went to my father and I said, what am I doing wrong to not get in this guy's head? He said, because he's getting in your head.
Wow.
Because what he did
Quietly.
is he reverses the psychology on you and don't say anything, and he knows that's what makes your game go.
Let me give you the last 60 seconds in this segment here of a story that you can tell.
When I played in the USBL in men's league, it was equivalent to the NBA G League in 1986-87. So Henry Bibby was my first coach, my first year in Springfield. And my second year, the late Dean Memringer was my head coach. And Michael Ray Richardson was my teammate as well. I wouldn't let people take advantage of me. So remember Othell Wilson? He played point guard at Virginia with Ralph Sampson. I was denying him the basketball, and he hit me across the chest with an elbow. And after that, I started swinging at him, benches, and Michael Ray Richardson has his forearm on his throat, and he's like, you don't touch my girl. You don't touch her. And I'm like, move. Don't touch me. You hear me? He can't see me. And don't you ever put your hands on me again. Okay, that was the first year. Second year, Andre Turner.
Yep.
I had a fist fight with Andre Turner, and the benches cleared, and the same thing, nobody ever touched me again because they thought I was crazy. I know that I'm 5'10". I know, even when I played for the Lakers in 1980 and Pat Riley was my head coach, he tells people, he goes, she thought she was 6'8" and black. She thought she was the best player. She went through 3 hours of our practice. They beat the crap out of her, and she tried to start 2 fist fights. And he goes, 4 days later, she was my starting point guard with the Lakers in the Summer League.
So Gary, we know in the hood, when you go to look for a fight, don't necessarily look for the biggest one. It's whoever is the craziest. Back with Gary and Nancy after this. I'm just throwing it open-ended. What do you want to close with, Gary Payton?
Well, JB, the only thing I want to close with is I want to get these kids out of these neighborhoods and become like what me and Nancy is doing right now. This is what I want to do. I want them to have heroes like my father. A lot of these kids don't have heroes like my father, and they look up to other things. So what I want to do is I want them to understand that I can come into the neighborhood, they can talk to me and do whatever. You don't have to be a basketball player, a baseball player, a football player. You can be anything in the world, a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, or anything, and then come up on this stage and be just like this and go a message to your next generation. And that's what I need to have. I'm trying to open up a charter school in Oakland, California to help these kids get right, get them, because some of these kids don't even, they have the grades, but they don't have the money or the funds to get there. And we need to give them that opportunity. And that's what I want to do. And I want these kids to understand, look, make a goal. Always make a goal for yourself to be something. Always be something and work at it.
We're going to team up. My charity, Nancy Lieberman Charity, we're a children's charity. We've sent 44 kids to college already. We have what we call dream courts, because it was my dream to be on a court, because you couldn't hurt me on that court. We want to bring kids into a safe play space. We want to put programming on these courts. We want kids to have education, strength, confidence, and teach them that the most powerful word they're ever going to hear is no. No, I'm not smoking that. No, I'm not drinking that. No, I'm not sleeping with you. No.
Two awesome people with a great message. By the way, take a look, pick it up. Loving both of you guys. You two are flat out awesome. Can I just say thank you very much? You guys are great. Join us next week for another edition of The James Brown Show.